If you want to stop being broke, this video is going to be a goldmine. These are the 10 tiny money habits that are silently keeping you broke. And these are not what you typically hear. These are the psychological triggers that create these broke behaviors. By the way, I'm Daniel and I've been managing money since I was 16. And these are the triggers I had to identify and rewire. Now let's start with the most overlooked pattern, the loyalty trap. This is when you automatically buy the same brands without checking prices. Always Apple, always Starbucks, always the same grocery store. You've turned shopping into a habit instead of a choice. Your brain does this because brands make you feel safe and part of a tribe. It's easier to stick with what you know than to research every purchase. Plus, companies spend billions to make you think their logo equals quality. But here's the truth. You are paying premium for familiarity, not necessarily value. And this damage compounds silently. Every shopping trip, you are paying a brand tax. Those extra dollars disappear into company profits rather than staying in your pocket. Over time, it's like having a small leak in your financial boat. Instead, do this. Set a loyalty budget. Pick 3 brands you genuinely love and you're willing to pay extra for. For everything else, try the cheaper option once. The only way to know is to test it. If it works just as well, you found free money. And most people discover the generic version is nearly identical for a fraction of the cost. Your wallet doesn't care about your brand identity. If brand loyalty is costing you money, this next habit is even preventing you from knowing how much. And that brings us to number 2. The avoidance loop. This is when you avoid checking your bank account. You know you should look, but you just don't. Days turn into weeks without knowing your balance. You're hoping if you don't look, nothing bad will happen. Your brain does this because checking feels scary. What if there's less money than you thought? What if you spent more than you remember? So you put it off thinking you'll deal with it later. But later never comes. And this creates a dangerous cycle. You can't fix problems you don't know exist. Overdraft fees sneak up on you. You make spending decisions based on guesswork rather than fact. Meanwhile, your financial problems are getting worse in the shadows. Instead, do this. Check your account every single morning, just for 30 seconds. Don't judge the number, just look at it. Make it as routine as checking your phone when you wake up. Knowledge kills fear, and you can't manage what you don't measure. Your bank balance is just information, it can't hurt you. Now that you're aware of your money situation, this next habit tricks you into thinking change can wait. And that brings us to number 3. The later lie. This is when you tell yourself you'll start saving when you get your next raise, or when you pay off that credit card, or when you move to a cheaper place. You are always waiting for the right time to begin. Your brain does this because it feels easier to promise future action than to take current action. You imagine that you will have more willpower, fewer expenses, and better habits. It's like thinking you suddenly become a morning person next Monday. The truth is your money habits stay the same unless you change them now. And this costs you compound time. Every month you wait is a month your money isn't growing. The $50 you save today becomes $100 in saving habits over time. But waiting means you never build the muscle and opportunities slip away forever. Instead, do this. Start with whatever you have right now. Even if it's just $5 a week, the amount doesn't matter, the habit does. Set up an automatic transfer today, not next month. You will never feel ready, so stop waiting to feel ready. Your current income is someone else's dream, so start there. You are building good habits with your current income, but this next habit strikes when your income goes up. And that brings us to number 4. The comfort creep. This is when you get a raise and immediately upgrade everything. Better apartment, fancier car, more expensive restaurants. Your income went up 20%, but somehow your expenses went up by 25%. You're making more money but feeling just as broke as before. Your brain does this because you feel like you've earned the upgrade. You worked hard for that raise, so you deserve nice things. Plus, you tell yourself you can afford it now, but you're not accounting for lifestyle inflation when your standard of living rises with your income. And this keeps you stuck in the same financial position forever. You might make twice as much as you did few years ago, but you're not twice as wealthy because you spend twice as much too. Your savings rate stays flat while your stress stays high. Instead, do this. When you get a raise, split it in half. Use 50% to upgrade your lifestyle and save the other 50%. This way you still enjoy the fruits of your hard work, but you're also building wealth, not just upgrading your problems. Automate that extra savings immediately before you get used to spending it. Wealth isn't about how much you make, but about how much you keep. You're now keeping more of what you make, but this next habit quietly drains it away without you noticing. And that brings us to number 5. The silent leak. This is when you keep buying something but never actually save that money. You decide not to get Starbucks, but that money just disappears into other spending. You cancel a subscription, but your bank balance stays the same. You think you're saving, but the money vanishes without a trace. Your brain does this because it feels good to skip a purchase. You get the satisfaction of being responsible without actually doing the work. But money is like water. If you don't give it a specific place to go, it flows wherever it wants. Without intentionally redirecting that money, it just gets absorbed into your regular spending. And this is why you never feel like you're getting ahead. You make smart choices every day, skipping lunch out, avoiding impulse buys, but your savings account stays flat because those wins never stick. You are doing the hard part but missing the crucial step. Instead, do this. Every time you skip a purchase, immediately transfer that exact amount to savings. Let's say you skip a $5 coffee. Transfer that $5 right now, or you cancel a $15 subscription. Move $15 to your savings account. Make it a game. Every avoided cost becomes actual savings. This way, your good decisions compound instead of disappearing. You are now saving your own money intentionally. But this next habit makes you spend based on everyone else's choices. And that brings us to number 6. The mirror spending habit. This is when you spend money because everyone else is doing it. Your friends go out to dinner, so you go to, even though you can't afford it. Your co-workers all have the latest iPhone, so you upgrade yours. You see people on social media traveling, so you book a trip you haven't saved for. You are spending to keep up, not because you actually want these things. Your brain does this because humans are wired to fit in with the group. We don't want to be the one that says, I can't afford that. It feels embarrassing to have different spending limits than your friends, but you don't know their financial situation. They might be going into debt to keep up too, and this keeps you broke while everyone else looks rich. You are funding a lifestyle that isn't even yours. Meanwhile, your saving goals get pushed aside for someone else's priorities. You end up stressed out about money while trying to look like you have plenty. Instead, do this. Create your spending rules and stick to them. Before any group activity, decide what you can actually afford. Suggest alternatives that fit your budget. Cooking at home instead of restaurants. Be honest about your limits. Most people respect authenticity over fake abundance. Remember, you are building your future, not funding their perception of you. You are setting your own spending rules, but this next habit makes those rules impossible to follow. And that brings us to number 7, the wish loop. This is when you set financial goals that sound good but mean nothing. Save more isn't a plan. It's a wish. I want to save more money. I need to spend less. I should invest something. These goals feel productive, but they give you zero direction on what to actually do. Your brain does this because vague goals feel safer than specific ones. If you say save more, you can never really fail. But if you say save $500 this month, failing becomes measurable. So you stay comfortable with wishes instead of committing to real targets. And this keeps you spinning in circles forever. Without specific targets, every dollar feels optional. You have no way to measure progress or celebrate wins. You are running a race without a finish line, so you never actually finish. Instead, do this. Make your goals painfully specific. Not save more, but save $200 every month. Not spend less, but spend no more than $50 on eating out this week. Not invest something, but invest $100 in myself this week. Give yourself numbers, deadlines, and clear success metrics. Specific goals create specific actions. You can't hit a target you can't see. You now have clear specific goals, but this next habit makes reaching them way more expensive than it needs to be. And that brings us to number 8. The convenience tax. This is when you pay for convenience without thinking about it. You grab cash from an ATM without checking the fees. You order delivery because you didn't plan dinner. You pay for express shipping because you waited until the last minute. You are not choosing convenience, you are defaulting to it. Your brain does this because it feels easier to pay than to plan ahead. When you're in a rush or unprepared, convenience feels like the only option. You tell yourself you are too busy to think about alternatives, but you are paying premium prices for poor planning, not for valuable time. And this creates debt by 1,000 cuts. Not because convenience is bad, but because you are paying for it when you didn't have to. That daily $3 ATM fee becomes $90 a month, but your bank has ATMs that are free everywhere. Those delivery charges add up to hundreds per year for meals you could have planned ahead. You are paying premium prices for poor planning. Instead, do this. Plan ahead to avoid convenience fees. Know where your bank's ATMs are located. Batch your errands to reduce delivery fees. Sometimes convenience is worth it, but make it a choice, not a habit. The goal isn't to never pay for convenience, it's to pay intentionally. You're making progress with intentional choices, but this next habit turns good behaviors into excuses for bad spending. And that brings us to number 9, the reward spiral. This is when you are disciplined all week, then you blow it all on the weekend. You eat packed lunches Monday through Friday, then spend $200 on dinners and drinks Saturday night. You skip buying coffee all month, then treat yourself to a $500 shopping spree. You're using good behavior as permission for bad behavior. Your brain does this because it thinks discipline works like a bank account. You save up good choices, then you feel like you can spend them on splurges. Plus, restriction creates cravings. The tighter you hold on, the bigger the explosion when you let go. You tell yourself you've earned the reward, but you're just undoing your progress. And this keeps you stuck in an endless cycle. 2 steps forward during the week, 3 steps back on the weekend. Your net progress is always negative, but you feel like you're trying hard. You burn out from the restriction, then feel guilty about the splurge. Instead, do this. Build small rewards into your routine. Allow yourself $20 for fun spending every week instead of $200 a month. Consistency beats perfection. Aim for 80% good choices, not 100% followed by 0%. Treat yourself regularly so you don't need to binge. Progress comes from sustainable habits, not extreme swings. You're making consistent progress, but this next habit makes the progress invisible to you. And that brings us to number 10. The visibility trap. This is when everything goes into one big pile of money. Your paycheck, your savings, your bill money, your fund money, all mixed together in one account. You have no idea what's for what, so every dollar feels the same. When everything is in one pile, it disappears faster. Your brain does this because multiple accounts feels complicated. It seems easier to have everything in one place. Plus, you think you'll just remember what money is for what purpose. But money without boundaries behaves like water without containers. It flows everywhere, and this makes every spending decision harder. You can't tell if you are spending savings money or fund money. Your emergency fund gets mixed up with your grocery budget. You feel like you have plenty when you are actually broke, or feel broke when you actually have savings. Without clear boundaries, you can't make clear decisions. So instead, do this. Give every dollar a specific home. One account for bills, one for savings, one for fun spending. Even if it's just $50 in each account to start. When you can see your money's purpose, you protect its purpose. Separation creates clarity, and clarity creates control. Those are the 10 psychological habits keeping you broke. Break these patterns and you break the cycle. But here's the thing, knowing these habits and actually implementing them are 2 different things. You might be thinking, this sounds great, but how do I actually do this on a tight budget? That's exactly why I created this video. Remember, the path is yours to walk, and as always, I'm in your corner rooting for you.